Some tragedies don't stay on the ground. They follow flight paths. They linger in the air. Over the years, there have been stories of planes that never quite arrived and passengers who never truly left. Whispers of voices heard where there should be silence. Shapes seen where nothing should be standing. Moments that feel frozen in time. Tonight's stories don't belong to one place or even one country. They belong to the sky itself, to flights remembered not for where they landed, but for what was left behind. They're still with us. Welcome to Haunted by Beauty. Hi, I'm Susan, and welcome to Haunted by Beauty, my YouTube channel where I combine my love of makeup with my passion for ghost stories. Tonight, I'm bringing you plane stories from various sources, including flight attendants and Reddit. I'm also going to be doing this look, this beautiful flight attendant from Emirates Airlines, and I've been on their flights. They do not hire ugly people. So it does look like she has a cut crease and a bold lip. And one of the things I've mentioned in previous videos is that there are no rules to makeup. And you may hear you can't go with a bold eye and a bold lip. And I don't necessarily think that's true. She's clearly got both going on, and it looks beautiful. So that's what we're going to go with tonight. So I'm going to start by moisturizing. There were 3 things that I read on the flight attendants subreddit. The 3 main things that they focus on are hydration, the longevity of your makeup, and sun protection. So I'm going to go ahead and moisturize really quickly. So if you think about it, if you're a flight attendant, you're in the sky all day with that dry, repurposed air, and you're basically in a big metal tube up near the sun. So it makes sense that you would want to hydrate and also make sure that your skin is protected with SPF. Another thing that they recommended that I hadn't really heard of before was sunscreen stick, a sunscreen stick. So I got the Naked Sundays 50 SPF, and it's sort of like a brightening as well. I'll put it down below, and it just looks like a little deodorant. A little goes a long way. Let me get that on. But this is something that I think probably holds up a lot better. It feels really thick in a good way and moisturizing. So that's 2 steps down. So I've gotten my moisturization and my SPF. The next thing I usually do in my look is to put my tape on. So I'll go ahead and do that. And I'll start to tell you the story of Eastern Airlines Flight 401. On December 29th, 1972, Eastern Airlines Flight 401 left JFK Airport for Miami Airport. The Lockheed 1011 was having an issue with their sensor light, their landing gear sensing light, and it preoccupied everyone in the cockpit, and they think one of the members of the flight crew may have knocked the throttle and kicked the plane off of autopilot, thus sending the plane into a slow descent. So not only are they off of autopilot, they're descending slowly, so they couldn't feel it necessarily. So let me continue with my look. This again has a bold eye look and a bold lip. And the next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and go in and start to do my eyes. I'll be priming my eyes first. So I have my P. Louise primer and this little palette. So I'll just be putting less than a pea size little drop of P. Louise on this. So you don't need much at all. I don't know if you can even see that tiny little dot. That's all you need. And then I'll go in with my priming brush, and you want to prime the brush with your primer. So you want to dig into your primer and really get it into your brush really thickly. Now the other eye, again, priming your brush by getting all of the bristles saturated with your product. So that's that. Now I'm going to go ahead and set my eyelids. And to do that, I'm just going to be using, I have my little pot for my powder. And I'm going to go in with L'Oreal's Infallible Blurfection. And this time I'm going in with sort of like the beige color, not the pink. Get that into my little pot. And then set my eyelids by priming the brush, priming it again on my hand, and then going ahead and hitting my eyelids. Okay, so then the next step, again, this is a cut crease. I'm going to be going in with my Huda Beauty Rose Quartz palette first. This is a beautiful palette that has a lot of pinks and browns. This has a lot of pretty pinks and browns, but I'm going to be doing more of the pinks and the taupes, and then a dark navy to match my outfit. So taking a Wet n Wild cut crease brush, I love these brushes. They have a little, I don't know if you can see, a little divot here for your finger. So I'm going to go in with this color right here in my crease. First, I'm going to take a quick trusty ghost cut tip. Tap off. And then I have hooded eyelids, so I'm going to go a little bit above my crease. And it's okay if I make a little bit of a mess because I have a product that I'm going to be using. I've used it before, but I'd like to show you again. So keep going back and forth, windshield wiper motions, little swirls. And then I'm going to go in with a little bit of a darker brown. Tapping off. And I'm going to go over in my corner here and sort of make a upside down pyramid shape. Sadly, flight 1000 was again descending very, very slowly, and by the time they tried to correct for it, it was unfortunately too late, and the plane went into the Everglades. It skidded into the Florida Everglades. 101 occupants of the plane out of 176 occupants perished, including all of the flight crew and including Captain Bob Loft and flight engineer Don Rapo. It's widely reported in many sources that there were fishermen on the Everglades who luckily were able to go around and help the living passengers. Thank goodness they were there. It's also widely reported that Eastern Airlines took parts of the fuselage from the crashed plane and used them for replacement parts in other airplanes. And that's where the ghost stories start. Any planes that had these parts, flight attendants, crew started to report seeing who they believed to have been Captain Bob Loft and flight engineer Don Rapo. We're talking full body apparitions, Bob Loft having conversations with individuals who knew him, including an executive from American Airlines. And oftentimes, the sightings corresponded with them giving a warning. Bob was seen, his face was seen on an oven, and he warned the crew about the oven. And later on, they did check it and there was no problem, but later on there was a fire with the oven. And Bob Loft had a full conversation with that executive that I talked about from Eastern Airlines. Full, solid apparition. And this was repeated over and over from many different members of many different flight crews that were on planes that had received these salvaged parts. So I am going to continue with the look. So next I'm going to go in with my cut carver from P. Louise. So anything that I had that came down over my eyelids here, I'm going to clean off with this. It's almost like a pomade and a clean brush. And I do have my my black mat here to clean my brushes off. Just going to make doubly sure that it's clean. And then it takes off anything in the area that you want to be bright. You can see I'm going to do it on the other side. So they basically decommissioned any of the planes eventually that had these parts, and the sightings of the flight crew, the doomed flight crew, did stop. So I'm going to continue with my other eye and tell you about a different plane. So Argentina Airlines flight LV MLO flew from 1978 to 2000. And it had its first flight on December 8th, 1978. There fortunately were no accidents with this plane, but the story is that a flight attendant was diagnosed with cancer, and my mirror every time. She asked the company if she could stay on as a flight attendant with that plane. It was called the Queen of the Skies. Everybody loved this plane. It was a jumbo jet, and she loved her job and loved that plane in particular and wanted to spend as much time as she could being a flight attendant for that plane. Sadly, she did pass away. I'm going to continue with my look and keep talking more about this story. So right now, I have that pretty cleaned up. So she does have a bright color, and I'm thinking it's either white or pink. I'm going to go in with white on my eyelids. So after she sadly passed away, crew and passengers started to hear noises in the galley, in the cockpit, banging noises, and even two flight engineers who were doing maintenance on the plane pulled up to the plane on one of those ladders that you, I guess, can pull up to, and they saw a flight attendant like running toward the cockpit. This just went on for many, many years, and in 2000 they decided to ultimately decommission the plane, and obviously the sightings stopped. I'm going to keep going with this really bright light. So I talked about earlier some of the recommendations from flight attendants, and that they talked about hydration, longevity of their makeup, and also SPF. We covered moisturizer and SPF, but other things that just make sense if you're going to be on a long flight or if you fly often would be drink plenty of water. Stay hydrated by drinking water. Let me take a sip real quick. And they also recommended getting products that have SPF built in. So your foundation should have SPF in it. If you have a moisture with SPF built in, all the better. Just the more that you can layer on that SPF, that moisture from outside and inside, obviously. Another thing that they recommended, which I thought was really smart, was, and this would be good for if you fly a lot or if you just have a long flight, sample sizes of makeup, which you can get through things like if you have an Ipsy subscription or any subscription to makeup kits that come monthly, they usually send little samples, so you can pop them in your bag and you have your whole makeup kit ready to go. So I'm going to keep going, and now I'm going to go in with my eyeliner and start to build up that line. She's got really dark eyeliner on the top and the bottom. So I'll go in with my eyeliner. This is Urban Decay. It's dark blue. I'll put the name of it down below. And she has it all the way across her eyelid. So there we have it. And then I usually do the bottom after I take my tape off. So let me just set this eyeliner with I have Ulta Beauty. They're little sizes, perfect for a plane, by the way. This is their navy, and I'm going to go in with a small head brush, and just set that liner. So if you ever want to hear about either ghost stories or makeup, you can go into subreddits. So to get ready for this video, I went to RFA, so the subreddit for flight attendants, and I looked up ghost stories, I looked up spooky and got different stories, and then I just looked up makeup, and that's where I got their tips. And then I did beauty, and I got more tips. But if you like, if you're a pilot, you could go, I'm sure there's a subreddit for pilots. I did not check that, but you could, rest assured there's a subreddit for it, and you can look up spooky stories. Anything that you have a hobby with, I'm sure there's a subreddit for it, and I'm sure you can find scary stories and makeup tips. So I'm going to go ahead and take off my tape gently. The flight attendant subreddit also had great stories from flight attendants, not necessarily about their flights themselves, but their layovers. A lot of good stories about haunted hotels that they've stayed in. I guess flight attendants are required to all stay on the same floor. There's all kinds of different rules that I read about, but like one flight attendant was so scared they didn't want to stay on the floor anymore that they had to stay on. It was really interesting to sort of get a peek into their world. Okay, so now I have my eyelids are done. I'm going to go ahead and start with my base now for my face. I'm going to go in with my foundation and put that on my little palette. Just a few pumps. 2 pumps. I'm going to start with 2 pumps. And go in with my foundation brush. Again, I'll link down below what kind of brush it is. Again, prime your brush really well. So you want to get it really into those bristles. Take the other half of the pumps that I had, keep priming the brush. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and set. I'm going to go back in with my L'Oreal Infallible, more into my little pot. I'm going to go in with a little bit of actually I'm just going to use this little heart-shaped puff I have. Take the powder onto your puff and then into the palm of your hand. Get some more. Okay, that's all set. Her cheeks are very dramatic, so I'm going to go in with my bronzer. Use the same bronzer over and over, NYX Buttermelt bronzer. Smells great. And where's my brush? Where's my brush? Here it is. Found it. Nice and clean. You can go for that C shape. Black there. Blend, blend, blend. And I've mentioned in other videos that I'm not a makeup artist. I just love makeup. I don't have perfect skin. I'm not young. I just love makeup. So you're gonna see the real deal in my videos. I don't use any kind of filter. I don't use any blurring mechanism on my phone. But I think it was important to share that because sometimes I do get self-conscious about my skin and the texture of it. And you know, this is me. This is how I look. And I'm not gonna ever like try to hide that. I just wanted to share that. So now I'm gonna go in with my blush and I'm gonna do this little LA Colors blush. And her blush is like right here, and then she's got highlighter under here. So I'm gonna go ahead and do my blush on the upper part of that little C. I'll make a smaller C. And that's not to say that people who do use a filter or get work done, I'm happy for them. I'm so happy for them. That's not me. If that's something that you do or have done, that's awesome too. I'm not judging anybody who does things differently. I just wanted to kind of make a comment about my skin tone and my skin texture because I've noticed it in other videos. So I'm going to stop talking about it, but that's that. Then next, I'm just going to tame my brows a little bit. She has dark brows, very clean. I do get my brows waxed regularly, so I feel like they're fairly clean. I'm just going to go in with my eyebrow glue from NYX. Just make sure that their shape is nice and clean. And it is just like what it says. Okay. So now I'm going to do my under my eyes here with the liner that I had, Urban Decay. It's really dramatic eye. I'm going to go in with my little brush again, set it with my Ulta Navy. Wing out a little bit of a wing. It's really dramatic, but I like it. I think it looks it's not my everyday, but I like it a lot. Okay, so next I'm going to curl my lashes, and again I have my little gizmo that heats up. Okay. Stay tuned, I have one more story. As soon as this turns green, I'll put this in. I think while I'm waiting for that to light up, I'll go ahead and highlight. So I have Wet n Wild highlighter. It has like a bronzy color, a darkish pink, a lighter pink, and then a whitish. Let's go in with this brush here. I'm going to do the lighter pink and the whitish color. Okay, it's green. I'm going to go ahead, green now. I'm going to go ahead and put my curler on there. Let it heat up. Okay, it's ready. Okay. Next up, I've got my Sky High mascara. And take my little gizmo that I use for my mascara. So, like I said, it was interesting to go into the flight attendant subreddit, and I did come across a story, and I attribute that to Redditor Evil Queen. She's a flight attendant, and she was on duty, and there was a husband seated in a row, and when she came by, he asked for a drink for his wife. He said that I guess she was in the restroom. She went to get the drink, and eventually when she came back, The wife was in the husband's seat, and she handed the wife the drink. And the wife said, where did this come from? And the evil queen said, your husband asked for this drink. And the woman got drained of all color and said, my husband passed away. He's being transported in this plane for his funeral. So I thought that that was just like so scary, and just from the subreddit itself. So I'm going to go ahead and set Milani Make It Last. And my fan. And then, last but not least, bright lipstick. So she's got that really bright lipstick. Going back in, I've used this before, my Besame Victory Red. And I'll be right back. Here's the finished look. Here's some complimentary cookies. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe, and please leave a comment down below if you have any stories about a flight you've been on, or if you're part of an airline. It could be anything from the flight itself to a scary hotel story you may have. I'm here for it. Stay haunted and stay beautiful.